Let's go. Chancellor Scholz, welcome to you and your delegation. This is the third visit that you are taking as Chancellor to Israel, the second visit during the war. We very much appreciate your friendship, the support that Germany has given Israel during these trying times. We've just had, I think, a very serious conversation, an important conversation among friends. You expressed your concerns for two things. One, protecting civilians, and second, provision of humanitarian aid. And I explained that these are our concerns as well, because we agree with both goals. In fact, the Army of Israel has done more to minimize civilian casualties than any other army in modern times, and certainly any other army faced with such dense urban warfare and an enemy that seeks to use civilians as human shields, as Hamas does, often at gunpoint. Secondly, we are doing unusual efforts to increase humanitarian aid by land, by sea, by air, and we'll continue to do more. The main problem that we see is the distribution of this aid once it gets into Gaza, and the fact that it is being looted by Hamas and by others. This is something that we have to have a joint effort to try to prevent it. The responsibility for this disruption and for the civilian casualties should be laid at Hamas's door. Israel will do whatever it can to minimize those casualties and maximize humanitarian aid as needed. We also agreed that Hamas has to be eliminated. We cannot have a future for Gaza, a future for peace, a future for Israel, if Hamas, a terrorist organization committed to our genocide, remains intact. If it remains intact, it will regroup and reconquer the Gaza Strip and, as they vowed, repeat the massacre again and again and again. Yesterday I met with the families of hostages, and not yesterday, I'm sorry, on Thursday, I met families of hostages. And one of the hostages, woman, told me that her captors, she was there with her children, and we got her out. And she said, the Hamas captor who held her hostage said to her, you know, you're going back now. I suggest you go. Go anywhere. Go to California. Leave Israel, because we will do next time 10 times what we did to you now. And after that, even more. So we cannot have this genocidal organization that murdered over 1,000 Israelis. We cannot have them in power. We cannot have peace if Hamas is there. Hamas has to be eliminated for any possibility of peace and progress. When we talked briefly also about the day after Hamas, the one thing that I would stress is it's got to be the day after Hamas is eliminated. That will open up other possibilities, but none can be realized unless Hamas is eliminated. Chancellor, please. Thank you.
Prime Minister, many thanks for receiving me today. We have been on the phone quite a lot in the last weeks and months, but nothing can replace a meeting in person. 160 days. 160 days that still more than 100 Israeli citizens are in the hands of Hamas. 160 days of suffering for them, an unbearable incertitude for their families and friends. They are in our thoughts and prayers, just as the memory of the more than 1,200 who were brutally murdered on October 7. We will not forget them. Blessed be their memory. In these dark hours, my country stands by the people of Israel. From day one, our message has been clear. Israel has the right to defend itself against the terror of Hamas, and all hostages must be released. This cruel crime must end now. Israel's military operation in the Gaza Strip has now been going for about 5 months, and large parts of Hamas military infrastructure have been destroyed. During these 5 months, the cost in human lives and the number of civilian casualties has grown to be extremely high. Many would argue much too high. As a partner and as a friend of Israel, I have shared my concerns about the development of this war with the Prime Minister. By fighting Hamas terrorists, Israel is pursuing a legitimate goal. Never again end October 7. The longer the war lasts, the higher the number of civilian casualties rises, the more desperate the situation of the people in Gaza become, the more this begs the question, no matter how important the goal, can it justify such terribly high costs? Or are there other ways to achieve your goal? Take the ground offensive in Rafah. The military logic is one consideration, but there is a humanitarian logic as well. How should more than 1.5 million people be protected? Where should they go? I also spoke to the Prime Minister today about the need to provide the people in Gaza with comprehensive humanitarian aid supplies. We cannot stand by and watch Palestinians risk starvation. That's not us. That is not what we stand for together. Much more humanitarian aid is needed continuously, reliably. I shared my concerns with the Prime Minister that provision of aid from Israel into Gaza and the conditions for distribution must be urgently and massively improved. And finally, we need a hostage deal with a longer-lasting ceasefire. I know how difficult it is to reach an agreement with the Hamas terrorists, but we understand the hostage families who say after more than 5 months the time has come for a comprehensive hostage deal for saving those who are still held captive. I want to express my appreciation for all the mediation efforts undertaken by the government of Qatar as well as Egypt. They have our full support. What also remains important from my view, Hezbollah must withdraw from the border area north of Israel. We are working on this on the basis of Security Council Resolution 1001 with the United States and many others. A regional military escalation would have unforeseeable consequences. We need to make any effort to avoid this. For me as German Chancellor, one thing is essential: Israel's security. It is at the center of all my efforts and thoughts here. Terror against Israel must be fought consistently, but terror cannot be defeated with military means alone. We need a solution to this conflict that ensures sustainable, lasting security. Sustainable security will not come from higher walls and deeper ditches. It will come from a positive perspective for both people, Israelis and Palestinians. A perspective for a future where Palestinians can responsibly take care of their own affairs, govern themselves. The Gaza Strip and the West Bank belong to the administration of the Palestinian Authority. The PA needs to be reformed and strengthened, both in terms of personnel and structure. Self-government and Palestinian statehood can and must be designed to meet Israel's security needs. There is no contradiction here. On the contrary, lasting security for future generations of Israeli people lies in a solution with the Palestinians, not against them. And in the end, this means a negotiated two-state solution. This also includes the normalization of Israel's relations with its neighbors, especially with Saudi Arabia. Israel's strategic security lies in Palestinian self-government in partnership with Saudi Arabia and other states in the region in sustainable peace. Germany stands by Israel as a partner and a friend. We support you with actions and with honest words.
Thank you, Chancellor. I trust you know that Israel seeks peace, and Israelis believe, all Israelis pray and yearn for peace because we suffer the consequences of war, both as a nation and as families who lost loved ones. The cost of war is well known to us. We believe that the key to peace is security. Many believe that the key to security is peace. But peace is unsustainable without a strong Israel. And if we are offered a peace agreement or a path to peace that makes Israel so weak and unable to defend itself, and our neighbors still adhering to the goal of destroying the Jewish state, then obviously we will set peace backward and not forward. We want to move peace forward, and for that Israel has to have the necessary security responsibility in this tiny area. Otherwise, the radicals take over. This is something that we've discussed in detail. We'll have other opportunities. I want to assure you that we value the support that Germany has given us in international forums and elsewhere. We value your friendship, and we look forward to continuing this conversation. The other thing that I would say is that I assured Chancellor Scholz that our goal in eliminating the remaining terrorist battalions in Rafah goes hand in hand with enabling the civilian population to leave Rafah. It's not something that we will do while keeping the population locked in place. In fact, we'll do the very opposite. We'll enable them to leave because our consideration for reducing and minimizing civilian casualties has guided us and will continue to guide us in the future. Thank you, Chancellor, and thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.